What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Taylor Talk Celtics. I'm your boy, Adam Taylor. This episode's brought to you by the Celtics Chronicle. Link in the description. Go show love. We're going to be diving into the Celtics' 3 different draft pickups over the last 2 days. So I brought in one of the best experts that I could get my hands on, to be quite honest with you, Antonio Diaz. Antonio, I know you're doing a few different scouting projects right now. So do you want to let everyone know what your credentials are?
Hey Adam, thank you for the invitation to be here. Excited to talk some prospects. So I'm a head scout for Eurohoop Scouting in Europe, and also I'm a scouting associate for the Mexico City Capitanes from the G League.
So we got a professional scout on board right now because we need to dive into 3 different prospects. One of them English, one of them Ukrainian, one of them is Gonzales, and
Yeah.
one of them Spanish. So 3 Euro guys that we can dive into from 2 Europeans. Obviously, I'm English. Antonio's over in Portugal, living the really nice sunny life. I'm a really big fan of Malaga, which is obviously in Spain, but not too far from Portugal. One of my favorite places to visit.
Yeah, I've been there as well. It's a great city.
Yeah, Fengarola, Benalmádena, all of that stretch up on the coast is just
Yeah.
fantastic. So I want to, before we can talk about holiday destinations later, Hugo Gonzalez, I think we start with him and then we work through. So Gonzalez is probably the most unknown. Williams played for Kentucky this year. He's been in the college leagues for 5 years. Shulga was over in the US as well. So Gonzalez is the guy that most Celtics fans are kind of coming into the summer not really knowing what to expect. What can you give us on Gonzalez? Because the highlights look great, but there's not much actual game footage available for people to go and dive into.
Okay, so first thing, from the boards I've seen, I think I am the highest person I've seen on Gonzalez. I had him, let me check, 13th on my board. So for me, it's a big value for the Celtics to get him at 20 something. Is probably one of the most, if not the most accomplished young prospects in Europe. He played for Real Madrid his whole life. He's won MVPs at the under 18 level, under 16 level at the best competitions in Europe. And he played for Real Madrid this past season. That's probably what made him fall on the draft so much, because he's one of the highly touted European prospects. Like he's played with Yegor Demin. He's the same generation as Nolan Traore or Kuchonis. They got drafted before him. He just played for a team that didn't have that much space for him to play. He was playing behind Mario Zonia and Zanan Musa, 2 players that played in the NBA. So no other prospect had to face that type of competition to play this year. And that's why he had so little minutes with Real Madrid. Still with that, he got more minutes as the season went by. He was a pretty good finisher, and that's the best skill he has. Like, he can go off the catch or as a cutter, get to the rim and finish with force. He can finish against contact. He can finish with skill as well. He finished, I think, at a 60% rate as a cutter and driver. So that's pretty good for the Celtics. There are more, as we know, more perimeter center, and so getting a guy that can attack the rim with the way Hugo does, that's really good. Again, he's one of the best European guys there is out there. He just didn't have that many opportunities this year to show that.
We've got, with the Euro guys, there's always like a huge variance, right? So some guys come over from Europe and absolutely thrive. The top players in the NBA right now, all European, Giannis, Jokic,
Yeah.
Luka. You can look at those, but then for every one of them, there's like 15 guys that struggle to adapt to the NBA, especially if they haven't. If a Euro guy goes through the collegiate system, he kind of adapts to the NBA better. Obviously, you can still go there and crush it without having gone through college. But for someone who's 19, Gonzalez is 19, coming over to the States now to try and fight his way onto a pretty stacked rotation on the Celtics, Do you think he's going to be able to break into that rotation early, or does he need a year with the G League to acclimate himself before being pushed into a full NBA rotation?
It depends also on what the Celtics are trying to do. We saw with Holiday and Porzingis leaving, no Tatum for the year. So it depends on what the Celtics are trying to do. If they are still trying to get to the playoffs, if they are having more of a down year, collect some assets and go from there. I would think sometime in the G League for him is probably happening. But I can see him being part of the roster at the later part of the year, just because his competitive spirit is so high. Like he could be in Spain. There were a lot of games where his team would be winning by 50, and you would be playing exactly the same way as if the game just started. So he's a competitive guy. He's always trying to push himself to the limits he can get to. So I would say even if it starts with the G League team, and probably he needs to adapt to the American game, more more athleticism, bigger bodies. He can probably play a bit by the end of the season. He played in Real Madrid with guys like Dennis Smith Jr., Sergi Baca, so he's at least capable of doing that in practice. It's not the same as doing that on games, of course.
Yeah, of course, but it's still more experience than what a lot of guys coming out of college have been able to get in terms of just playing against NBA talent. What can you tell me about his like IQ side of things? So processing speed, spatial awareness, ability to read passing lanes, read cuts, understanding of angles, either on ball or off ball. What have you seen from him just from an IQ standpoint?
Okay, so he has had in the last 3 seasons, I would say three completely different seasons. With the youth teams, he was more of an off-ball guy. Then last season, he just spent so much time on the ball, trying to learn how to be a creator, trying to learn how to do stuff with the ball. And then this past season, he's just played with the senior team, so we came back to a more off ball capability. Um, he's a guy that reads, especially off the ball. He reads the game super quick. He just when he gets the ball, he knows what he's going to do. He doesn't hesitate much. He just goes for even the shot or the penetration. He doesn't think too much about stuff. When he's on the ball, he's a bit more hesitant, just because he didn't grow up that much doing that kind of stuff. He developed that part of this game a bit when he was forced to do it in the Real Madrid youth system. But with the Celtics, as he's going to play more off the ball, you can see that he's going to make quick decisions. It doesn't take too much time. He doesn't spend too much time with the ball in his hands. Even if he's creating, he's going with 2 or 3 dribbles and he's going to make his move. He's not going to be pounding the ball too much. So that's mainly it for him. He's a high IQ guy, some stuff to iron out, but the decisions are quick for him.
And that's always for me, that's one of the most important aspects I look at, especially in rookies, is just how quickly are the decisions coming to you? How good are the decisions you're making? Like what's the quality on the speed of the decision? And then obviously where the scope is for that improvement. I think like controlling angles and understanding angles is such an underrated aspect of being a high level hooper, just knowing where to cut, how to cut, who's cutting from where, and where the passing lane will open up and will close. That's going to be important for everybody, not just for Hugo. Looking at the defensive side, if you go and watch his clips, any highlights that you find, all of the highlights seem to be like rear view blocks, right? He's coming over as either from the rear view as a chaser or coming over from the weak side and then rotating over to offer some weak side rim protection. Just seems really explosive off of 2 feet. Is that a genuine aspect to his game, or are they just people cherry picking block highlights?
No, that's part of his game. He's quick. He's quick off the floor as well. He's pretty athletic. Even with the finishes that you can see, there's a lot of finishes from him above the rim. So he can jump quick and he can jump high. There are some quick decisions as a defender of the ball. And one thing you just don't see on the highlights, of course, it's that he picks up his man as far away from the basket as he can. If the ball goes in, he's already on top of his man. So he is really competitive on that end. He's so competitive as a defender that gives him, um, by itself, it gives him another level as a defender. And from there, he can defend some guards. You won't be tasked with defending the best ball handlers on the other team because he isn't there yet. But he can defend some guards. He can also switch a bit to fours as well. So he can defend the three. He can defend the two a bit and defend the four a bit. But as a secondary rim protector, he's pretty good and he can do that job for sure. And another part from his physical tools, I think he has one of the biggest hands in the draft. So that's a pretty cool tip to have for him.
Are we talking Kawhi level hands?
I'm not sure of the magnitude of his hands. I don't think it is like Kawhi. But for a guy his size at 6'6", that's pretty big hands from him.
There's some big ass hands. What's he like in space? What's he like guarding in space? Does he have good hip mobility, good lateral quickness? Is he somebody that you want to try and hide and develop that defense over a few years?
Not hiding per se, but he won't be like super quick turning. That's probably the main thing with him is turning his hips in space. And if a guy is quick on his crossover, he can take the best of him. But not like he's gonna be targeted by the other team, just trying to get him on the play. No.
That's fair. That's fair. So overall, he's a pretty high level prospect. If you could project him to be like in the next 5 years, what would you project like a player comparison to be? What type of player could he develop into?
Player comparison is not easy. I could see him in a bit of a role like something between an Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. So a guy that can, that's a really, I feel like he can be a really high level role player, someone that you can trust in the playoffs, someone that can go get you some baskets when you need it, when the other team is putting their guys on Tatum, on Brown, and you need a third guy. For example, like Derek White has done. He isn't the same level as a shooter as Michael Porter Jr. He isn't the same level as Gordon as a cutter. He's kind of a blend between the two. Someone that can cut and play off the ball and get to the rim, as someone who can develop his shot for the next 5 years, because the numbers weren't great this year as a shooter, but they weren't terrible at all. I've seen the development in his shot. It's gotten quicker. It's gotten a bit higher as well in his release point. So over the next 5 years, I project him to really get into it. I would say in 5 years from now, I would think like fourth, maybe third offensive option for the Celtics.
See, that's for the 28th pick. That's a win. You mentioned the shot. You mentioned seeing it improve. That's definitely been an area, even on the highlights, where he looks a little bit slow to get into the shooting motion. Sometimes his pocket seems to change. It doesn't seem to be a consistent shooting pocket. And the release obviously seems to, as you mentioned, is going higher. It's developing as we speak. With a team like the Celtics, where he's primarily going to be off ball, primarily going to be playing out of catch and shoot opportunities, is that an area where you think could hold him back initially while he works with NBA level shooting coaches to at least to kind of bring him up to an average level of shooting?
Yeah, it will. For the first few months, even for the first year or something like that, it's gonna take some time because he's been changing his shot. It's not just developing his shot; he's been changing it. 2 years ago, the shot wasn't the same that it is right now. They tried to get it to be a little bit quicker because he was bringing the ball a bit down. He was his base wasn't consistent. He was bringing the ball sometimes a bit farther behind as well when going up. So that takes time to adjust. It seems like a little bit of a few adjustments, but when you get all of it together, and he's been having the same shot for like 10 years of his life. So now having to change it a bit, it takes time for him to get comfortable with it. So in the NBA, I think they will be working on that shot. So it will take time. I don't think he's gonna be like a 40% in his career or something like that. Um, but if he can get to like 35 or up, 37, 36. If he can get to that, I think it's a pretty good goal for him.
Neural pathways are tough to rebuild, man. Rebuilding that muscle memory, those neural pathways, they take a while. You've got to break what's already there before you reinstill it. So even if it's 18 months, right? The Celtics have had really good success in developing and tweaking and improving shots from multiple players over recent years. So I'm actually quite confident that they can figure that out. If everything else is already there, the IQ, the defense, the ability to read angles, and in Hugo's case, the athleticism and rim pressure and the ball handling, then the shot should be ideally be able to come because he has so many other options to hurt you to earn enough minutes to be able to put reps in on that shot, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, it does. It's gonna take time, but the process is that like um, you are getting a player that spent the year playing against the best teams in Europe, played in the best league in Europe. He played the EuroLeague as well, which is the combination of the absolute best teams in Europe. So he has played against guys. Some of those guys could be in the NBA. Some of those guys have been in the NBA last year. Some of them are going this year to the NBA, and no other prospect has played at that level this year. There's no other prospect that has played at that level. So what you're seeing in the video, you have to put like a little bit of an asterisk because you're seeing real professional competition. If he went to college, probably would have been a bit higher. But he's been with Real Madrid since like, it was like 9 years old. That's his childhood team. So I think he wanted to spend the time there. And another thing is like you've seen Luka with Real Madrid, Luka Doncic, and of course he was MVP of the EuroLeague at 19. Not every guy is going to be like Luka. It's not easy. That's why he's one of the most special players in the league. Um, so having a guy that he wasn't supposed to get any minutes for Real Madrid. So the fact that he finished the year getting like 10 to 15 minutes a game, that's pretty good. That's really good for him because it's a team that's looking to contend for titles every single season.
And I mean, if you're setting the bar, if you're setting the floor at Luka Doncic, you,
You're gonna be
you're
disappointed.
going to be so disappointed. Everybody,
Yeah,
it doesn't matter who you're drafting. Realistically, if you set the bar for Cooper Flag at Luka Doncic, there's a chance you're going to be disappointed. So
yeah,
I'm with you there. I think that the value in having somebody like Hugo is the years that he's had in Europe playing with other NBA level guys and how that's going to translate compared to the other rookies that now they're getting their first taste. And I want to move on because we spent a good 20 minutes on Hugo, and my aim was for 30
yeah.
minutes overall. So we're going to run over. We're gonna go to Amari Williams. I've spent most of today watching Amari Williams tape. So I've gone through all of his passes, all of his assists. I've worked through all of his post ups, and now I'm kind of working my way through his transition offense. And obviously, the thing that stands out the most with Williams is his playmaking ability, the way he runs the delay actions on the perimeter. For anybody watching, delay actions is just a really fancy way of saying a big man with the ball in a 5-out offense. So everybody's spaced around the perimeter and the centers to go with the ball. His passing ability to spot cutters has been really good. His over the top passing has been not as good, but good. Like he makes reads over the top of defenders quite well due to the size, obviously. And then like his handoff, he feels like he could be a genuine playmaking hub, not to the level of like a Bam Adebayo or somebody like that, but in that similar mold, right? I'm not saying he's a Jokic guy. He feels more
Yeah.
Bam than he does Jokic, if that makes sense. What have you got from I don't know how much scouting you've done on Amari, but what have you actually, when watching him, what have you taken away just from his overall offensive game and that playmaking ability that he's got?
So I haven't watched all the plays from his offense, so not as much as you. But I've been following for a few years. He played at Drexel before going to Kentucky. I feel like he had he had more offensive responsibilities at Drexel. Of course, he had more liberty as well um, to even handle the ball at times in transition. You could see with Drexel, he was doing some of that stuff where he would catch a defensive rebound and he would go all the way to the other end. With Kentucky, that didn't happen as much. You could see still the passing, as you say, like players faking handoffs and then cutting behind it. He can hit them with a bounce pass or something like that. He's really good. He's really good from the top. He has some, not much, but some low post game that, especially can face up to a player. Go with 1-2 dribbles. He has a strong shoulder that he can put into the defender and go up. Um, I feel like, and since I'm Portuguese and you guys have Namia Skate as well, um, I feel like he's also a bit comparable to Namia Skater when he was with Utah State before coming to the NBA. Skater could do some of those passes, and now you don't see it that as much in the NBA because teams have high level players, so they don't need sometimes those players to do that kind of stuff. So you will see like a rim runner, rim finisher who can use his shoulder to get space and finish with the left. He has a bit of a baby hook shot that he can go to. I don't see him at the same level as Namias as a rim protector. I think Namias as a rim protector is a bit better than him, a bit quicker on his decisions. I think Amari Williams may have a better touch than Keita at the rim, um, and even like a few a few feet behind the basket, or better, a few feet far from the basket. He's better at like a little push shot, a little floater. He can go to that. Yeah,
That push shot was one of the first things I noticed on his post up game. Just he's got, I think that with Nimi last season, the one thing I wanted
yeah,
to see from Nimi coming into this season, like so from 23, the end of 23 coming into the 24-25 season, so the end of 23-24 into 24-25 was I wanted to see some more footwork of Nimi on drop steps and on face ups, right? I felt like his
yeah,
footwork in the post needed just tweaking. I wouldn't say like drastically changing, but for someone near me size, a drop step should be able to help him face up and seal his man off. And he improved that a lot. But now, as you mentioned, that his touch around the rim let him down quite a bit last season. Like he would get really good post position, but smoke the layup because the touch was either too heavy or too soft. And watching Amari's film today, his footwork is already there. Like he's able to face up on guys or drop step on guys, and that push shot seems to be one of his crutches in a way. Like he's very comfortable taking that push shot and being able to finish with it in a way that Nimi hasn't been able to do. Now Nimi has other
yeah,
attributes due to, I think Nimi's more physical in just in general. He's a bigger, broader body, bangs a lot more Whereas I
Yeah.
think Amari, as you said, has a strong shoulder, but he doesn't have the same lower center of gravity as what Nimi does. I feel like Nimi's more rooted into the ground. So that's a really good, the way I've kind of compared Amari Williams right now is like he's got the size of Nimi, but the mobility of Luke. And it's
Yeah.
been quite a weird one to kind of compartmentalize how he could fit into that rotation. Now, honestly, he probably won't because he'll probably spend all year in the G League and struggle to make the roster. But I do think that that point with the push shot and just in terms of Nemi's size and rim protection, that correlates with everything that I've been seeing today when I've been watching the film.
Yeah, I have the same opinion. I see probably Nimi like a better rebounder. Um, even on screens, Nimi, and I'm comparing both like when they came into the NBA, so they have like the same base. Nimi was more of a better rebounder, better rim protector. Williams has the better touch and probably is more comfortable with his dribble. So that's the big. Those are the biggest differences. They are still pretty comparable guys, of course.
What do you think about Williams on defense? That's one thing I haven't seen yet. That's like the weekend for me is going through his defensive. And the one thing somebody did say to me was he's got heavy feet, so he's slow around the rim. He's primarily a drop defender, but those heavy feet make it really difficult for him to slide them. He doesn't really guard well in space. I do expect him to have good mobility, good hip flexibility, but I don't know whether he's got the speed to be able to close down after getting beat off the dribble by a guard or a forward. I do have some concerns about his defense. Otherwise, why would he have fallen so far, right? If his defense was good and his offense was good, he wouldn't have been a late second round pick. So I'm assuming that his defense is a big work in progress.
Yeah, of course you can really like cherry pick when you're talking about a second rounder.
Yeah.
But he was a pretty good second rounder. As I said, he spent most time of his collegiate career in Drexel, which is a lower major school than Kentucky. Then he went to Kentucky, and it's different. He played with better guards, um, but defensively, you could see that he has some work to do. Um, as you said, the hip is not difficult for him. Like he can turn, he can react. The problem are sometimes his feet, the quickness with his lateral sorry laterality. I butchered that, but not easy. Um, with the way he moves, kind of lets him down at times. He sometimes goes for um, trying to go for the blocked shot, and it isn't there, so he jumps, and the other team gets an easier shot at the rim. So it's not as easy for him on the defensive side. There's some upside there, but I don't think he will be like a great defender. You would have his moments, but it's going to be tough for him, especially going into the NBA, where he has to deal with those guards, those quick guards, even in the G League, some quick guards that can attack him on the pick and roll, and he has to react quickly. And I fear that in the first few years he won't be able to.
And that could really hurt his ability to even make an NBA team. If you can't hang with guards on the G League, there's no way you're because
Yeah,
the step up from G League to NBA is wild. So if you're just struggling to hang with guards on switches in the G League, if you're getting hunted there, it's going to be really difficult for the Celtics to give you enough opportunity to prove yourself. Because for whatever you bring offensively, if you're just getting smoked and hunted and punished defensively, you're going to get played off the floor immediately.
yeah, of course. And I would say the difference in the G League and the NBA with the guards, it's like they're both quick, but the NBA guards are so much skilled that they're going to use their quickness and the way they can just stop on a dime to their advantage. So if you can't hang with the G League guards, and it doesn't even need to be on switches. It can be as a drop defender. If you don't know how to react to what they're doing, you're gonna have a bad time.
And then we can move on to Max Shulga, our last guy to touch on. I know absolutely zero about Max Shulga. Nothing. I haven't done any research on him yet. I've got to get through Amari Williams before I start researching Max. I like to try and get a full picture of each guy one by one. So literally, I'm just going to defer to you. What can you tell us about Max? Is there a reason to be excited here, or is he just here for a short time, a fun time, not a long time?
Um, Shulga is interesting. I'm trying to get his page um, on ESPN here. So he played with Nimi 1 year at Utah State. I think it was his freshman year, and he developed really well. I think he came into the NBA more as a secondary guard, more someone who could shoot or attack the basket off the catch. Um, and right now he is. Oh, that's on me. Sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry, I was getting some video on my on my searches here. He was more of a primary of a secondary guard, and he's more of a primary right now. He tries to set the table, tries to get his teammates in action. I would like to see more aggressiveness from him trying to score. Sometimes he just goes for the pass when there's a shot there, or when he can drive to the rim and he tries to get the ball to a teammate. He's totally unselfish. He doesn't look for his shot that much. If he wants to survive in the NBA, he has to get a bit better at getting there too. If there's a shot for him, especially as he isn't going to be playing as much with the ball with the Celtics, he has to be able to let the ball go when he's open. I think his numbers, yeah, he shot 41%, 41.5% last year from three. This year, on less repetitions, not much, but less repetitions, he dropped a bit to 38.7. He's a good shooter, either off the dribble or off the catch. But I expected a bit of a jump from him, and it didn't came. He had some offers last year for a transfer to Villanova, which, as we know, produces really good guards. It didn't end up going. He stayed with VCU. I don't know what to expect from him, because I was expecting a jump from him, and I think he took a step back this year with VCU. From there, I thought he was like an end of the first round, start of the second round player. The draft wasn't as good as well. This year is clearly like he was picked in the range that I was expecting him to be picked. Again, the aggressiveness to score has to be there if he wants to hang in the league. The passing, although he's not like a special playmaker, he's really good at passing the ball, and he knows how to get the ball to his teammates.
So very European style, fundamental, good
Yeah,
at reading the game, but needs to improve on aggression and scoring.
exactly.
That's fair. That's fair. And look, there's a space for a new guard in Maine anyway, because they converted JD Davison last season. Now I don't expect them to pick up the team option on JD Davison, so he'll be floating around in the NBA free agent pool somewhere. But I think Shulga has now got a very clear pathway to significant guard minutes in Maine, and that'll show us whether he's capable of making that NBA jump. And I think that it's really hard, right, with these second round guys. It's really hard not to get excited because they're a new player, and it's always the possibility of them becoming a star, or the possibility of them becoming a high level contributor. But realistically, with second round guys, they flame out a lot more frequently than they work out. So it's fun to get these insights, especially from somebody that's doing this all day, every day for teams. But for me, where I stand at the minute is kind of very much along the lines of Shulga, I don't expect much from. Williams, I expect a little bit more, but not much. But I've got all of my hope is on Hugo Gonzalez right.
Yeah, it's where I would be as well. I would expect Hugo to become a contributor, to become a rotational player, to become someone that you can put next to your best guys and earn these minutes in playoff settings. Um, Williams and Shulga, you can expect development. You see them developing stuff, but you may also never see them play a game for the Celtics, for example.
Yeah.
It can happen. It can happen, because they are second rounders for a reason. This year, second rounders. So many guys went back to college, so the second round wasn't as strong as in other years. So you're betting on upside on a player becoming exactly the ceiling they can become. You never know what they can become, but you expect them to develop, but don't put too much pressure in them getting to that point.
And with that, Antonio, I want to wrap up there. Before we go, though, I know that you're doing a lot of behind the scenes. You're head scout over at Euro Hoops, and then obviously working with the Mexico City G League team. That's a lot of behind the scenes work, right? Are you doing
Yeah.
anything forward facing? Anything you want to promote that's publicly facing? Where, or if not, then cool. Like obviously, you're doing work on contracts.
Yeah, with Euro Hoops, I do a lot of so it's a subscription service for NCAA teams to get more information on European guys. So, with the NIL, a lot of European guys are coming to NCAA. But we also have like we also do analysis on the best European competitions, and with so many European guys getting to the NBA, I think it's important to keep tabs on them from early. For example, with Hugo Gonzalez, I am higher on him than other people because I've been following him for 4 or 5 years, so it's different than just getting to know him in the past season with not as many games. So you can follow me on Twitter on Antonio Diaz _PT. I published a lot about the younger European guys. Um, Under 19 World Cup is about to start, and you have all the European youth tournaments in the summer. So I'm always publishing there and trying to follow with them.
Awesome, man. Well, look, thank you for your time today. Everybody, make sure you go show Antonio some love. Again, if you're not subscribed, go subscribe to the Celtics Chronicle newsletter. It's coming out multiple times a week. During the season, it's pretty much daily. Free plan, paid plan, whichever one you want to do. Antonio, man, it's all love. I appreciate you taking the time to jump on. Everybody, make sure you subscribe to the
Thank you
channel,
so
and we'll
much.
catch you again soon. Peace.